Hello and welcome to this week's episode of your Power Packed Podlets. My name is Rachel and I'm your host for these mini magical journeys together. And in this week's episode, we're going to be diving into a subject that's really close to my heart and I have a feeling is also really close to yours. I'm going to make an assumption here, and the assumption is the following. If you're called to listen to these episodes, then a holistic approach to your health and happiness is a priority to you. And maybe something you haven't considered before, but after listening to today, you're probably going to feel, well, yeah, this makes logical sense. A holistic approach to your business is also a priority. Not only that, a holistic approach to how you impact others and how you bring value to the world, and also a holistic approach to how you build wealth as a byproduct of the value you bring to the world. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that is really, really important because it's something that so many women in business experience in years 1, 2, and 3 of building momentum. And it's the following: anxiety and overwhelm. Is this something that you experience building your business? Is this something that you're familiar with? And the reason it's so important for us to discuss this subject is, one, so you realize you're not alone and you can feel that sense of relief of actually being able to openly discuss this subject and realize that other people are thinking similar things. Also, number 2 is having tools to assure that you reduce the amount of time that you're in that state. Now, if you find this sort of subject really useful, if you're really enjoying these episodes and you haven't yet signed up to our free event at the end of May, you're going to find the link to that event in the description to this video. Now, I highly recommend signing up because this is going to be an interactive experience. For 4 days, you're going to be meeting with myself and like-minded women on Zoom for us to go on a 4-day journey together. This is where you're going to get to be supported, guided, and coached on your journey, where you're going to get to explore through storytelling how to get to another level. But a lot more than this, there's something that happens when you commune with other women, and you know what I'm referring to. So if you've not yet signed up, the link is below. Sign up first and then come and listen to the rest of today's session. So before we get in our teeth into the subject, why am I bringing this to the table? Let me ask you a question. If you're in fight or flight response, so you're stressed, you're having a stressful day, maybe the undercurrent of stress is a little bit subtle, like a hum in the background, maybe it's a little bit more obvious. When it comes to making decisions, are you likely to make those decisions based on thriving or surviving? Now, let's flip the script. You're in rest and digest. Your dominant state of being is inner safety, balance, confidence, and belief in yourself. You're feeling super grounded. Now, when it comes to challenges in your business, where are you going to make those decisions from? And what are you going to be focusing on? Thriving or surviving? Because when we talk about being able to drop into inner safety, when we talk about being grounded, trusting yourself, believing in yourself, the reason why this is so powerful is that from that place, you can be navigating all sorts of challenges in your business and in your life. And any decisions that you make and any perspectives that you have are much more likely to be focused on thriving, growth, expansion, connection, than surviving, contracting, and just making it through the day. When do you think you're more likely to grow and enjoy your growth? When you're in fight or flight or rest and digest? And the reason I ask this question is I see most women building their businesses and living their lives believing that fight or flight is a state of being, and it is not. Fight or flight is a tool. So a stress response is a tool that we pick up for a function, and then we put it down when that function is complete. How we make decisions, how we face challenges, overcome obstacles, have conversations that require we overcome conflict, where we face negative feedback, where there's maybe financial losses. We do not need to be in fight or flight response as we're facing those. In fact, every next level in your business, if you're wanting to grow exponentially, if you're wanting to create more financial freedom and time freedom and help more people, being able to hold, rest and digest, i.e., inner safety and grounded trust in yourself as your dominant state of being, this is a requirement. Otherwise, I'm just getting to the end of a cold. Otherwise, getting to each next level is going to feel like so much to hold. And when it feels like a lot to hold, it is only normal that you sabotage your progress. And so you will often fall into three categories. If you're not working on inner safety, your capacity on being able to navigate the hard stuff from a place of trust, then another level of leadership, another level of income, another level of clients is going to feel like too much to hold. And so you'll either find 1,000 reasons not to go there, or you will sabotage your progress. And it's not because there's something wrong with you, it's a natural response of your nervous system to protect you from perceived danger. And so if you've heard people talk about capacity, nervous system capacity, leadership, inner safety before, and you've kind of thought it's some cute narrative going around on social media, yes, it is popular for people to talk about it. And yes, not everybody really understands what it's about. This is what it's about. Imagine waking up in the morning, knowing that you've got lots of things to do in your business and feeling completely calm and actually looking forward to all of the things, genuinely enjoying everything that you're doing. How differently is your business going to grow when you're managing it in that way? How much faster do you think it's going to grow when you're managing it in that way? So let's talk about a few tools because, first off, I'm talking about this because I know what it's like to be in the opposite state. There was a period of about 18 months of my life when I was building my current business. I was dissolving my old one as I realized it wasn't what I wanted anymore, and I was starting from scratch. And I spent about 18 months in a state of chronic anxiety. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with heart palpitations because I was holding on to so much stress in my body. And I don't recommend it. And so it was from that place that I learned the importance of nervous system management. I learned the importance of prioritizing the reduction of anxiety and not being willing to tolerate overwhelm. So I'm going to take you through a few practices, and you might hear these and go, oh, that sounds too simple, Rachel. That can't be this effective. It is. It is effective when you repeat it and you're consistent with it, and you do not let yourself off the hook. Because it's so easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to allow a little bit of overwhelm. Or I'm just going to go into familiar patterns and to repeat the same thing over because I know it, rather than pausing, practicing self-awareness and choosing a different thought and a different state of being from which to create. These practices are simple, but they do require self-awareness. They do require effort before they become easeful and your normal way of doing things. Because if currently anxiety and overwhelm are normal things that you go to when stuff is getting too much and you feel like there's a lot on your plate, that's been practiced a lot. It's familiar. And so you could have 1,000 things on your plate and be able to face them from a place of complete calm. To do that, it's about practicing it until it becomes normal for you. And so at the start, I'd like you to imagine it's like you're learning to do a plank, a headstand, a crow pose, a squat, Whatever right now feels like a stretch for you physically, I'd like you to approach this in the same manner, because it's an exercise of repetition so as to strengthen the muscle of inner safety, just like squats. You're building the muscle through repetition, and at the beginning, you do 10 squats, and you're like, oh, this is so hard. Oh, and your muscles might hurt the next day. And those of you who have had a personal trainer, having the trainer is useful because they get you to do those extra squats. It's the same with this practice. So let's begin with overwhelm. I know lots of you listening to this, you're coaches, and so you in fact help your clients to reduce overwhelm. And what is the process that you do that helps them with overwhelm? What is it that you do with your client that helps them to reduce overwhelm? A client comes to you and they've got 20 things on their plate, and every single thing feels like it's really important. And so what's happening? What's happening when somebody has 20 things that feel really important? What are they doing? They're holding them all in their body, all at the same time. Even if they can't focus on all 20 things at the same time, something within them is saying, if you drop the ball, something bad is going to happen. So you've got to keep them somewhere in your field of awareness, otherwise shit is going to hit the fan. And so even if it's not at the tip of the iceberg, above the surface of the water, that area of conscious awareness, it's there in the background, like a mosquito flying around their head. Me. And they can't fully relax. Not only this is they're holding it in the breath, they're holding it in the diaphragm, they're often holding it in the lower belly. The whole body is in a state of activation and not letting go of that activation until all 20 things have been completed. And if those 20 things take a week, 5 weeks, 5 months, then this person is holding all of that in their body and in their awareness for all of that period of time. What's that going to do to their health? So, how do we break this down? How do we remove the feeling of fear that if they drop the ball, something bad is going to happen? Now, I'm putting this into the perspective of you potentially guiding somebody else, so you can take a little bit of a step back and actually practicing coaching yourself. Whether you're a coach or not, it doesn't matter. The more we can learn to coach ourselves, the better our lives get to be. I'm going to break it down for you, because this is sometimes such a simple practice and it can really change a client's life. And this is often what a client asks me to do in a session with them. They will come with 20 things. And by the end of the session, what we've done is we have simplified what they're focusing on, and we've got clear on the fact that they cannot do everything all at the same time. And we've put it into order of top priority to lowest priority, and we've broken it down into logical steps of what is possible in each given time frame. Now, I took a pause there because, like I said before, you're going to think, oh, that's so simple. Yes, it is. You cannot complete more than is possible in the time that is available to you, nor does it serve you to hold it in your mind or your body, all of the other things that are on your list whilst you're doing one of them. You're not able to be fully present with one thing, and you're already thinking about the next and the next, and you're not able to relax into doing one thing. I know you think, but there's so much to do and so much to focus on. But you can't do more than is possible. So what's the point of even trying? What's going to serve you so much more, and this is a practice, is to prioritize, to simplify, to plan, to be logical, and to actually coach yourself every single time you go into a stress response and you find yourself speeding up and you find yourself trying to compress more into less time. To actually take a breath and ask yourself, Does doing it this way serve me? Is it actually true that if I don't do all 20 things in as little as time as possible, that the world is going to implode? Does it really mean if I don't do all of these things that everything is going to collapse? Is that really true? What's more important? Rushing to do everything now and then needing to take a month off to recover, or practicing what it is to find a sustainable pace, a consistent drum beat where you can do things again and again over a long period of time. Life is not at the end point when you've completed all of your tasks. Your life is now, in this very moment. There is nothing more precious and beautiful than the present moment, including when hard shit is happening. The practice here is to actually allow yourself to be with what is in this very moment, every single moment. This is the practice. To not resist what is, but to surrender to it, and to choose to show up in your power with whatever is in front of you. Full presence, with a choice to be in full integrity with yourself and within yourself, and to do the things to the best of your abilities without them needing to be perfect. Now, I know it sounds textbook. This is what works. This is meditation in action. Meditation in action is choosing not to believe the feelings, not to believe the thoughts, to question them, and to take a pause and to be aware and ask yourself, does it serve me to believe the feeling? Does it serve me to believe the thought? Or does it serve me to choose differently and practice that different choice? Now let's get into anxiety. Because anxiety, what is it? It's fear for the future. Our capacity as human beings is to imagine the future into existence. Different from, well, we think we're different from other animals. Maybe we're not. These are assumptions. Different from other animals is we can begin to envision through imagination all of the different possible outcomes. And natural biological response is to focus on what endangers our survival. And so the mind, the imagination, will begin to project into the future all of the really scary things that can happen as a result of fill in the gap. Whether it's to do with your health, your finances, your clients, your job, whatever it is. And so anxiety is fear of the future. Anxiety is fear of the outcome. And so the practice here, again, is to pause and to question the things you are thinking. We're not going to get too deep into the anxiety piece today because there's already plenty to unpack with the overwhelm. This is already a big practice for you to go away and do. So let me leave you with a few pointers when it comes to anxiety. Whatever fear-based outcomes you've been focusing on again and again, you've practiced enough. It's time for you to be done with that. It's time for you to actually practice desirable outcomes. And from a place of imagination, this isn't like some woo-woo fairy thing, is to assume the best. To assume that you are somebody that no matter what the outcome is, you will always find a way to be okay. The most powerful thing you can practice as a feeling and knowing within yourself is to trust your capacity to always find a way. No matter how many times you fall down, no matter how hard you fall, to trust your capacity to get back up again and your willingness to do so. This is the practice. Believe in yourself. Go out and create the evidence that this is true. Prove to yourself again and again and reinforce that within you. Even if things turn out a way that you don't want them to, even if those scary thoughts you have in your mind do come about, you will still be okay. You will still find a way. Because to find peace with anxiety is not to avoid the very thing we're afraid of, it's to lose the fear of the thing itself. It's to be able to face it and acknowledge that we will be okay in the face of anything. It's to see what we're afraid of and look it in the eyes rather than trying to avoid it. Because what the voice of anxiety and the feeling of anxiety will do is it will have you rushing around trying to avoid the thing you're afraid of at all costs. And it's often at the cost of your happiness and well-being. So what is it to get comfortable with those scary outcomes, whilst also practicing focusing on ones you do want? What is it to get comfortable with the things that you're afraid of without trying to push them away or run away from them, whilst also learning what's required of you to learn, to do, and become, to move towards the outcomes that you do want in your life? So let me close with this. The reduction of anxiety and overwhelm, it's not about avoiding things. It's about learning what it is to trust yourself and to program in patterns where your dominant response to life is to trust yourself. Your dominant response to everything is to be self-aware, and including when you do not respond in the ways that you would prefer, you choose those to be lessons to learn what a different response looks like. This is what self-mastery is. This is what self-awareness is. This is what self-leadership looks like, where we are no longer the victims to external circumstance. We are the creators of our life experience, and we are gifted with different experiences to teach us what the next level of inner freedom looks like when we're no longer afraid of things happening externally. When it comes to the holistic approach to impact, to service, to wealth, to business, this is what I mean. Business is not always easy. When you approach it, yes, health, happiness, impact. But how about also the awakening process? And I don't mean, as Carl Jung said, it's not about seeing like beings. Awakening is about bringing the unconscious to conscious awareness. When we can recognize that our business journey or anything in your life that stretches you, that calls you to learn, to grow, and to do things that are hard and potentially currently uncomfortable, this is a process of awakening. For you to learn to let go of the chains of old paradigms and old programs that limit you, and to step into another level of freedom and greatness and belief in yourself. Because as I said, business is not always easy. It does have obstacles. It will call you to lead at greater and greater levels. Are you willing to approach it from this mindset? So that including the hard stuff gets to be expansive, because you're grateful for the lessons and who you get to become by facing them with courage and gratitude and meeting the version of yourself that is birthed on the other side. So I'm going to sign off today with a reminder. Come to the event at the end of this month. This is not just about learning strategy, although I will be sharing strategy with you. This is about connecting with remembrance, that feeling within you that remembers why you're here and what you're here to do. The part of you that feels called to the holistic practices and the spiritual practices of knowing thyself, of meeting your shadows and meeting your edges. It's going to be a profound journey. There may be some tears of relief, lots of aha moments. One thing I can guarantee is it's going to be beautiful. So I look forward to seeing you there. And I can't wait to share this experience with you and hear what it is you're bringing to the world and the difference that you're making.